and welcome to Breakfast Central. It's definitely another day. It's midweek and we are indeed always excited to be here on a Wednesday morning. If you look outside the window, you just might notice the colors of the sky. It's not really blue. It's kind of like reddish, if I put it that way. Maybe reddish blue. There's any color like that, by the way. And that's because the baby, after 22 years, decided to grow a teeth, or a tooth, rather.
Oh, goodness me.
And it's really okay. So we're going to start off this morning. At least, let's give honor to whom honor is due. Every time we start with all the shenanigans and all the challenges and problems that we do have in our beloved country. I'm Joe Hansen saying good morning, and permit me to say...
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, Arsenal.
Congratulations.
Benga, come on, bring that spirit of sportsmanship.
Congratulations.
Behind the camera, I say, I don't like Arsenal don't
big
win
deal.
this.
I mean, Leicester City won the Premier League a few years ago.
Which one is it?
Leicester City was relegated
after 22
from Division
years.
2 yesterday. They're going to the fourth tier of English football. So, it's
So are you saying that Arsenal will
Leicester's
from the
wait
top
was
will come
even
down?
longer because they had never won the Premier League in their life. They've won, so fine. Let's move on.
Benga,
to
leave
things.
Leicester alone.
In their
Focus
life.
on Arsenal. Please.
Okay, Arsenal
Can
as
you
well.
say your congratulations?
Congratulations to Mokwe Chukwuemeka and friends. My late father was an Arsenal fan, so you'll be
that is
happy
huge.
watching them from heaven. But
I can only imagine
besides
the banter
that,
that would have
that's
happened
the end.
between
I wanted Man City to win at the league for different reasons, very political reasons. But Arsenal fired a kit man that has been their kit man for 22 years because he posted pro-Palestine tweets and they fired him. And Arsenal just signed a deal with an Israeli company, and Israel, their prime minister is wanted for committing genocide. So I don't support clubs that sports wash war crimes. So that's it. Just it's political and personal. That's why I don't support Arsenal.
Right, and I hear you on that one.
I'm not an Arsenal fan, but...
Yeah, but all the same, congratulations.
Is that what
to
you
them.
spotted on this color today?
I have I have no clue why. This was
Are you an
lazy.
Arsenal fan?
It was no.
Please, what
I'm not.
color is this? Because women see colors differently. What
so-
we see as brown.
This is Arsenal color. This is Arsenal color.
Well, this is orange.
Yeah,
is
Arsenal
orange.
has a
Joe,
bit of...
you need to see your option.
No, this is
Sorry.
Arsenal color. man.
Yeah, but I'm wearing like black slacks and then a black turtleneck, and so you need a purple color, and then I just pull this out of the
Yeah.
wardrobe.
And you're popping, and that's why you're my woman crush Wednesday.
Hey,
But next week it goes back to all Don't get used to it.
For the crush of today, it goes to Arsenal. Everything Arsenal today. I mean, let's celebrate
But
them because-
congratulations to them and well done. I know that it's going to be, if you're going out to drinks later on after work today, try not to stalk the bear. Allow them to be and allow them to enjoy themselves.
Let them enjoy.
Just let
They've
them enjoy.
suffered
They've
so
suffered
much.
22 years.
And if you have an Arsenal spouse, man that is an Arsenal fan, ladies,
This is the best time
this
to
is the
ask
best time
for-
to build them. Yes, they're in a good mood.
Thank God, though. Well, no, it's not fans. Fans me.
Funny thing is,
You escape the billing.
most of the men in my life, they're mostly tennis and golf fans. So unfortunately,
Okay.
There's no billing for you.
Well, it's no brainer. Anyway, welcome to Breakfast Central, and thanks to you guys already dropping messages. Yay, they say congratulations to Arsenal fans, but we're still here to watch anyways. PSG must not disappoint us. Are you serious? After saying congratulations to them, you're not saying PSG should not disappoint you. Anyway, I get what you're saying. In other words, you're trying to make a clear statement that the Champions League finals, May 30, Arsenal may not win that. I'm predicting that they will win that as well, but that's just a prediction. I don't know. Benga does not agree with me because everybody's saying, like, have you seen that PSG team? They are on fire. You know, kind of like reminds me of...
May the best team win.
Okay, may the best team win. You are indifferent, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go straight to the stories on Wake Up Conversations on a Wednesday morning. This video you're about to see starts off our very first Wake Up Conversation. I'm in high spirits. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I'm so excited for them because I know things will start working out for good, especially for the men who have been frustrated for 22 years. But let's focus on this story now. Women who are supporters of the All Progressives Congress have taken to the streets, rejecting what they call an insulting 1,000 naira payment for their participation in the party's primary elections. Did you hear me right? Now, the women in some states protested after being offered 1,000 naira for election participation. What participation, you may ask? Well, you know that long queue you see. Hold on, we're coming. According to them, the amount does not even cover transport fare, with some claiming it was later reduced to 600 naira. How many people collected this money? How many people were the middlemen? Well, the women described the money given to them as an insult to them, warning that such treatment could damage the perception of the party going into the elections. Don't take my words for it. Just watch this video for a little bit and we'll be right back.
What are you doing here? What rubbish is this one? Eh? What are you don't have respect for yourself? You want to? This is Sikon. What are you feeling? Bring those is not even are feeling. Eh? I'm asking you that knows. You are behaving like them. You two, you are behaving like them. Look at this one. This is not even your feeling. Bring it. I want to see it now. Bring out the result, or else we all remain here. Everything in come, you always do it negatively. Instead of you to sit down, let's do a lecture. You hide, carry materials and come and sit there. And look at their faces and you say they are feeling. What are you feeling? A team that has been disqualified by APC, what are you doing here? A man that has been disqualified, you are coming to see that to feel result for them. What are you doing here? You then, you better bring those documents.
Well, that's just two of the many videos that are circulating online, and there are counter reactions, by the way. The number one citizen, who happens to be the leader of the APC, President Bola Tinubu, has called on the national chairman to go ahead and act immediately, also laying the blame on the state governors for not having played their role appropriately. Guys.
I mean, what can they do? Their hands. I'm not making excuses for them, but it's a system-wide problem. It's a Nigerian people's problem. It's a moral decay. It's really, really sad, and it's the monetization of and weaponization of poverty that we're seeing play out here. There are no rules anymore. It's just cash and carry democracy.
1,000.
And if this is happening at the party level, imagine what will happen when they're contesting against other parties. Is that what you've reduced Nigeria's dignity to? A person's life, 1,000 naira. It's really, really sad. We're not even talking about the issues yet. So that's why we have the caliber and the class of leaders we have calling the shots in Nigeria. I was watching a YouTube documentary on the Blue Line yesterday, and I was shocked. I mean, it's a laudable project, fantastic project, connecting people to different communities and reducing the traffic gridlock in Lagos. But I could not but observe the amount of litter that I saw strewn across a city that claims to be a mega city. It's dirty and very, very sad. And then shortly afterwards, I watched a bullet train ride documentary from Beijing to Chongqing. And the person was showing how, I mean, this is a country of 1.4 billion people. So if you can manage garbage in a country of 1.4 billion people, what is 20 million people compared to 1.4 billion people? It's just, we need to change our mindsets. We need education. We need investment in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and a total reset of our value system before we begin to get things right. I mean, if it's left to me, I would just say, you know what, let's just pause. But like we always say, leadership comes from, we lead by example. We look at what the guys at the top are doing, and then we copy. So I'm really scared for the generation of my children and the younger ones coming up to what sort of country they will meet. But let's not despair. When there's life, there's hope. So by talking about these things and by doing our job, hopefully it will hit some nerve and they will begin to walk towards that change we desire. We all have a role to play. We're playing our role. And the 1,000 naira collecting people too, they're playing their role.
I don't know if Judith would have
really
seen that 1,000 naira note different.
The 1,000 naira note, even more saddening, is 600 naira.
Aye.
Yeah, that one is even what's mind-boggling, but also not new. But also, this is how low our electoral system has become. People selling votes even at primary level of elections. That is down ballots for as low as 600 naira. It is appalling, it is shameful, it is disgraceful, but also it is a perfect picture of what our electoral system has become. And it's not just in Nigeria, it is also in the entirety of Africa. I mean, we saw the elections that happened across Africa last year, whether it was in Cameroon, whether it was in Tanzania and the other parts where elections were held. What we saw was a gross misconduct and also high levels of rigging, impunity, and of course, electoral violence. And so it begs to ask a bigger question of whether or not we really we're able to fix the issues. Is it human capital? Yes, it is a contributing factor. But also, how desperate do we want a change in our system? That's a question we need to start to ask ourselves as Nigerians. How desperate do we want to see a change in the country? Because not only is the 1,000 naira, 600 naira appalling, it's also the other video from Ecom local government area of Cross River State where a woman had to call out those men, gentlemen, elderly gentlemen, and asking them, why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. This man has been qualified. You decide to take the materials, go to a back room and manipulate the results. How desperately do we want the change? It doesn't start at the ballot boxes or at the elections, general elections. It actually starts at the primary levels. And what we've seen in the last 1 week, my goodness, I fear to say that another 4 years, it's never getting better.
I mean, it's quite sad. But let's see what Nigerians are saying about that. Those different scenarios that we saw. There's more. Just this morning, I saw also a video circulating on concerning Governor Yetola, how Nigerians are angry with what's going on. They did come out to vote, how they were disenfranchised. And before you know it, they got angry and started, pulling down billboards, getting angry and screaming at the APC members.
Anyway, INEC said it's not a time to campaign, so they are helping INEC.
Yes.
To pull down those illegal billboards.
They were pulling it down. They were really pulling it down. But let's see what Nigerians are saying very quickly right here concerning these stories or discrepancies. Iwuna says last year, APC runners were laughing at malt and gala in Anambra, but today their mothers were giving just 1,000 naira, as in 1K can't even buy. He says, Ademu Paul, Nigerians know they hear word. Some of them go still collect bribe during the general elections. And that's a fact. Shevo Folorunshaw Shaw says, I guess this is vote buying with the official EFCC pretending not to see. I want to believe that the EFCC can see because they're being tagged. Men's Enclave says, obviously, this problem is that it's just 1,000 naira. It is not because they are uncomfortable with selling their votes for money. What a circus we have for a country. IG says, a disgrace to humanity. This is all they know how to do. A senseless kind of inducement to people who should be giving good governance. And guys, I mean, like the question goes, eventually Nigerians would have to choose and decide what they want. I mean, like Judith said, that's a fact. How long? For me, the question simply is, how long? How long do you want to continue in that way? How long do you want to continue collecting 1,000 naira? Just a few months ago, like one of the tweets said, Benga, we're here and we couldn't help but not just laugh, but feel so pained that people were queuing up for sausage and a can of malt. And we were collecting it with all happiness and jumping, not knowing that they've sold their future away. And if you look at the environment where they were collecting this sausage and malt, no tarred roads, it was a dirty environment, no development there, you could tell, no power.
But at the end of the day, do you, I mean, if we look at it holistically, can you really blame them? Because these politicians come around once in 4 years, and before the time of elections, it's a total neglect. And these poor folks, we have multi-dimensional poverty of millions upon millions. Their basic needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, feeding, clothing, sheltering, what time or what capacity do they have to organize themselves and educate themselves on the democratic system, on their rights, on where to channel their grievances to? They feel oppressed, and sadly, religion is also a contributory factor in the way a lot of Nigerians, in the docility of a lot of Nigerians. We leave it to God, pray for our leaders, this and that. And the political class will ride on that. So when it's election season, they would give you malt and sausage.
Right. But 1,000 naira doesn't even buy
and that's from your own perspective.
Right, no. Right. So let's look at
you're looking at it from a privileged point of view.
I'm looking at it holistically, as you are, right? And I just want to say this here. Maslow's degree of hierarchy of I always call it degree of needs and wants, right? In that point, those women are most likely mothers, sisters, and also caregivers as well. 1,000 naira cannot get the list that it cannot get them anything. If you're saying, okay, you have to wait 4 years come around, and at that point things have deteriorated, the most that they will share for you is between 3,000 and 5,000 naira, and it will last that night. 5,000 naira cannot get you 1 kilogram of chicken, of frozen chicken. It cannot. So the truth of the matter is that we must, as a people, decide to ask our questions. Do we sell for just 1 meal, sell the rest of our future for 4 years?
But Judith and Joe, the alternative is this. I know someone who's contested elections, and he went with all this high-sounding English, appealing to their conscience that this ones, you pay them money, they won't do anything, they'll come around, and you're selling your future, basically. What I don't have money to give you, but I can promise you that your children will be beneficiaries of my programs. And he built all these fantastic things he wanted to do. They told him point blank that now the people with the share money, they follow. Are you ready to share money or not?
I've seen
it. So what do you do in such a situation?
Yeah. Look, like I said, one day we've got to sit down and ask ourselves that critical question. How long are we going to take this?
How long is our
How long is too long? Do you want to continue like this?
It's your choice. Let's move on now to our next story on Wake Up Conversations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has confirmed the arrest of former Minister of Power, Saleh Mamman, who actually was convicted of looting 33.8 billion naira earmarked for the Mambilla and Zungeru hydropower project. He was sentenced to 75 years in prison, like Benga would say. What did you say again?
We wish him long life and prosperity.
Long life inside prison. Okay, long life and prosperity. 75 years in prison last week, but went into hiding. All of a sudden, it became a case of prison break. Where can we find him? Or what's that other movie called? The Fugitive. Okay?
Oh, I thought it was Prison Break.
Yeah. Until EFCC operatives tracked him down as we speak, 3:30 a.m. in Kaduna on Tuesday morning. Chairman of the EFCC wasted no time. Mr. Ola Olukoyede decided to, grant a press briefing and talked about it. Let's see if we can bring that video up and we get to hear what he says.
That at about 3:30 a.m. this morning, we arrested Mr. Saleh Mamman somewhere in Kaduna. We have discovered that he was actually being protected all this while. And where we effected the arrest, we've arrested 2 other Nigerians within, alongside. And also the property, the ownership of the property and all of that, they are still under investigation, because it's actually a crime for you to harbor or to protect or give a protection to a convicted felon. This is not in the interest of the country for somebody who is under criminal trial or criminal prosecution to escape from jurisdiction. So we're going to look at it. We are going to work with the court. We're going to follow all the legal and judiciary processes to ensure that we put all potential defendants, criminal defendants, under surveillance.
All right, that's the EFCC boss talking tough there. But let's see what Nigerians are saying before we come back to take our reaction this time. Let's do it that way. Let's see what Nigerians are saying, reacting to this, in quotes, caught. Like Nigerians said, there was a caught. Okay, who's taking this? Who wants to help with this?
Let's see if I can try. Good move, but it shouldn't stop at Saleh Mamman. Nigerians want to see the same urgency applied across the board, including the Yahaya Bello case. Until there's consistency, it will still feel like selective justice. And that is, let's see, this one is from @Romy, you know the other word. This needs to be one of many. One isn't enough. That's from Rumi there. The other one, it goes, Minister of Power until 2023, a member of the ruling APC, a current governorship aspirant, entire trial up to conviction and sentencing took less than 17 months. This is a big win for this administration in their fight against corruption. Kudos to the eagle eye at official EFCC. This is Samuel. He goes, them no see the Kogi guy.
Who's the Kogi guy?
I don't know. Who's that Kogi guy?
Yahaya Bello.
I don't know. Okay. Oh, that's...
Thank you for applying investigative journalism.
Yeah, of course. I do my job. This is Sparrow G. He goes, you can't impress Nigerians with this unless you arrest the ones with you.
Exactly. That's what Nigerians are calling for. Consistency. Congratulations to the EFCC for this FBI-like apprehension. The EFCC
no, if you
said
do your job, we celebrate
that
you.
It was a covert operation that was launched around 3:30 a.m. in Regasa in Kaduna. It was similar to the Delta Force nabbing Osama bin Laden, that raid in Abbottabad in Pakistan so many years ago.
Does the EFCC have cameras, stuck on their hats?
Okay, night vision goggles and all of that. But they did. But what I didn't like is, it's already in a secured location. It's been apprehended. There's no way it could be a flight risk anymore. The mugshot, they could have released the handcuffs from him and allowed him
so that he can hold the board. But he was struggling to, I don't know if
that's it. He was really struggling. This is a former minister of the Federal Republic. But if you do the crime, you pay the time. You do the time. So no hard feelings there. And also consistency, and that's what a lot of Nigerians highlighted during what Nigerians are saying. Yes, if what is good for the goose is good for the gander, and we need to see more of this. And it was nice of the EFCC boss to come out, in a press conference. He's very happy to share the good news. But it would have been nice if we saw this, if the EFCC addressed the issue of the doctors and the violation of this sacrilegious space of the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital when those doctors were assaulted. It would have been nice to see the EFCC.
Let me play devil's advocate here, though. Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was expecting that during the press conference, although the press conference was for Saleh Mamman, the former Minister of Power, I was also expecting that I was going to use the opportunity during the press briefing
to address those
issues.
Okay,
I would also like to address the issue. Although, what we hear is Mr. Olukayode has asked the EFCC unit who perpetrated that act to quickly go and apologize.
It's beyond apology. They should lose their jobs.
They should go and apologize. I was thinking that aside from apology, like you've mentioned, there should be a case of, all those involved, either they should be summarily dismissed, they should be taken out of the EFCC office.
Because it's gross indiscipline.
Because what you've done
it violates even the Geneva Convention on war.
On war. That you that you go to a hospital.
Yes.
The magnitude of that incident, people have not really come to terms with it.
I think we might have even moved on.
Hospital.
I think we've moved on.
I think we've moved on, which is sad. although the hospital have asked all the doctors who went on strike to resume. They resumed work, I think it was yesterday. They told them to resume work, that they should be professionals. They should actually help save lives, which is what they are meant to do.
Which, of course,
while the administration and the other unit would focus on handling the case. And I think that's a smart thing to do. Let those at the top, hierarchy in terms of the hospital focus on solving this issue with the EFCC, but they shouldn't stop the doctors from working.
And again, a moral case here. How does a political party do? They say they're conducting clearance exercises, and then you clear people that have active criminal cases.
So now let's bring the big fish. How do you say the big elephant in the room? Let's expose the big elephant in the room. While we've rang the bell for the EFCC and we celebrated them, Saleh Mamman, former minister, picked up a form. There are images of him holding the form. He was about to run. However, he knew he had a case and he was ready to run. How did he buy the form? Question one. When he was purchasing the form, when the APC was selling the form to him, did they acknowledge that, oh, wait, this man has a case in court with the country's anti-graft agency, the Eagle Eye? He cannot. So what's the constitution under the EFCC?
What's the metric?
What do they? Does the constitution state that?
About the party itself?
That's
Is
what I'm
there
saying.
no constitution?
What do they say? Do you sell forms to people who have, in quotes, issues with anti-graft agencies? If no, then that should be the reason why the former governor of Kogi State also had forms sold to him. The former governor of Delta State also had forms sold to him. And, well, we can't talk about the Senate president. His case has been long overdue and nothing has been heard of it, and he's already a Senate president. So all of these things are what the APC should also look into. Yeah,
is it not a moral dilemma for them?
A moral dilemma. Well, that's why we always ask the question about the APC, exactly what their ideology is as a party. What are their ideals? Because time and time again, it doesn't look good for them. If you are the ruling party that is the vehicle of the entire 31 states and represents pretty much the ruling of the country, it begs to ask the question exactly what your ideals are. Doesn't look good.
All right, permit me to go straight to YouTube and read some comments to our YouTube fans and viewers. Thank you so much. It says, if you believe that INEC will conduct a free and fair elections, it's like believing that Arsenal will win the Champions League. Come on, man. Okay, that's shots fired. Moke Chukwemeka says, did you not see the ones that they gave chickens recently to Benga? They should have a level of people voting, I say again.
That one, they gave them cockerels.
I saw that.
Because you will still need to feed them before they can become edible.
That is.
If you eat them in that form, it's sushi.
Yeah, I want that one second. Barbecue chicken.
Benga, behave. I don't know, you guys. Let's take some more. We're running out of time. This APC primaries just show you the type of persons we elect to go represent us. I will say Nigerian politicians are the luckiest in the world. They keep the people poor and do this after 4 years. That's what Lenin Kwere says. Joseph Muagba says, Nigerians don't choose. They claim to wait for their turn. We are very prayer drunk and love speaking or writing English like you. I mean, you say you and I am. I'm not there. It's my job. He's
referring to Benga. I know Benga always has to blow big English.
Until the law is passed on independent candidacy, nothing changes in Nigeria, sadly, really. I'm just fed up of Nigeria. Thank God my kids can take the nationalities of their mom's country and their country of birth. At least that saves them from all this Nigerian shenanigans. That's from Jesse Aripo. Jesse, I mean, many would consider you to be lucky. That's what they would say. Unfortunately, those who do not have the opportunity to have that, sadly, they have to remain. They reduce them to the barest in the north. At least people get up to 5,000 naira down south. Can you imagine?
I said it now.
I can't wait to be at the top of this country because obviously the law is applied on the weak. Oh my goodness. EFCC, why are you not arresting or investigating Hadi Sirika, the Air Nigeria scam? You know, we've brought that story up here many times. I mean, if you're able to get Mamman,
Hadi Sirika is one.
Hadi Sirika?
Yeah.
They say the case is still ongoing.
That's what they say. So that's exactly what they say. One asks EFCC boss, where's Yaya Bello? And says they're compromised. That's your thought. Jesse Aripo again. Okay, let's take Michael. Michael says Yaya Bello and Ifan Yokowa are cruising freely and hoping to get to the Senate. Yet EFCC is pretending not to see them. Come on, man. who are you deceiving? It says, well, these are the thoughts of Nigerians and not the thoughts of us here. It only goes to show that this is what they feel. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring to you our top stories and go straight into the big one. We do hear that someone has gotten the sole ticket to actually run for the PDP. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Let's go down with one of our top stories this morning. The internal crisis within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, appears to be taking another dramatic turn after a faction of the party that is led by Kabiru Turaki granted former President Goodluck Jonathan a waiver from its presidential screening process ahead of the 2027 elections, effectively declaring him cleared as the party's candidate. The announcement was made by former Niger State Governor Babangida Aliyu, who represented former Vice President Namadi Sambo, chairman of the screening committee. Aliyu argued that Jonathan's political trajectory from deputy governor to president made further screening unnecessary.
Development is price and have declared, at least for today, 10 aspirants. Right? Oh, okay, maybe I lost my count. And as you know, the party had already given our presidential aspirant the waiver. Like I said in the beginning, that he was deputy governor, became vice president, became president, so we didn't see any that needed screening, and therefore the party had given him waiver to come and start following. In other words, he has been declared and cleared as the candidate of the PDP for the presidential election.
The development is already raising major questions about legitimacy, internal democracy, and deepening faction in battle within the People's Democratic Party, especially as other blocs within the party are yet to publicly align with the move. The faction also granted a waiver to the party's National Secretary, Taufik Arapaja, while insisting the PDP remains united despite the efforts by some forces to destabilize it. As of now, Aliyu says Jonathan remains the party's early presidential aspirant before the faction. Join us this morning to discuss the implication of this development is the former special advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan and a member of the PDP, Comrade Jude Imagwe. A warm welcome to you, Comrade, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Benga, good morning, and thank you for having me. Joe, good morning.
Good morning.
And I'm Judith. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know who's an Arsenal fan among you all, but
No, unfortunately.
Well, we celebrate that.
Thank God. We'll have peace. We'll have some degree of sanity today because those guys, after 22 years, maybe they'll wait for another 44 years after now again. So let's hope they sustain it. But good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning, and it's great to have you. First and foremost, we would like you to confirm news of this because so many Nigerians still find it hard to believe that the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, is throwing his heart into the 2027 presidential race. Is this true? And what informed this decision?
Yeah, Bega, I'm glad you said it's news. As it's a news to you, it's also a news to me too. I find it relatively difficult to suggest right now or just now that my boss, the former president, is actually contesting an election. And if he's contesting an election, it shouldn't be announced to people by proxy. He's a strong man of strong character and strong personality, having served in respective capacities. So people should not announce for him whether he's contesting an election or he's not contesting an election. It's a decision that he has to take. And I've maintained this right from time. It's a decision that he has to take. There are several parameters he also has to watch. This early call of people running to marketplace by saying that he obtained the form, there are no suggested evidence that show that my boss purchased or obtained the form. If they have done that in the circuit, I, as an individual, Judy Magwe, I do not know. That they granted him waiver and trying to make all this ceremony out of it. The person of President Goodluck Jonathan is bigger than the kind of narrative they are pushing around, and that is the irritating part of it. A former lecturer, a former deputy governor, former vice president, and a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Not just former, a distinguished former president that served and left an office with legacies that people are still struggling to match up with. So I do not think it's charitable for people to wake up and begin to push his name around. But again, it is for him to decide. The silence sometimes is not healthy. As much as his name continues to recur on the social space of wanting to seek an election, yeah, that is first fine that people have realized that there was an error that was made in 2015. That suggests good. People still see him very competent and very worthy to pilot the ship of the Nigerian state. That is still also very credible. But that should not, such instances, such privileges, and such structure and such integrity should not just be rubbished or be dragged into the spokesperson, Ike, have not made any statement. My boss, the president himself, has not made any statement. And so for some of us too that are children to him, I have not been called or summoned to any meeting to say that the president is contesting an election. And so we'll still, like you have taken it, we'll still see it as a newspaper commentary or people standing under a belebo tree and making assertion and expectation.
But we showed videos of PDP members discussing this.
You showed video of people gathered. You did not show video of President Goodluck Jonathan. People have a right to be assembled in any place. People have as I'm seated here, people have actually printed posters that I'm contesting for the House of Representatives. Have you seen me in any of those places? No. So if the president is contesting, he's a courageous man. He will speak to Nigerians. That is silent at this time has a reason. So I'm not sure the president is that kind of a father that wants to do something, be shying away from it. The time has long. See, these things have time limit and they are time bound. And sometimes environmental circumstances could also suggest on whether to or not to. That is another part of this one that we can discuss. But for now, I'll tell you, for me as a Judy Magwe, I have not been told, I have not been summoned, I'm not in any of the meetings, and I'm also not too sure that any of these such things will happen, because as a son, I will also not want any of these such things to happen, and I have reasons for that too.
Okay, but you have worked closely with him, and can you share with us if there's any iota of doubt that the former president will likely not accept the offer, or he will accept the offer? The reason we're asking is, remember how a throng of Nigerians, followers of the former president, went to his house and they kept telling him, come out. And the same exact words he used, just like the previous time, was, I need to consult first. What does that consultation mean? You've worked closely with it. What does it mean? And will it actually, and
how long does it take to consult?
That he's going to eventually accept the offer? Time is running out.
Joe, let me start with Gbega. Gbega said, how long does it take to consult? It took Arsenal 22 years to win. Some of the people that won the trophy in Arsenal today, like Saka. Saka was just 3 years old or 2 when he joined when Arsenal won trophy last. So at least in his lifetime in Arsenal, he has seen them carry a trophy. I hope he sees another. Now for Joe, you see, the president as a father should not have seen people come to call him to contest an election, and he just dismantle them or tell them to walk away without speaking to them. You must give people the right of hearing and an expression of letting them know that you are empathetic with how they feel. That is what he demonstrated. Any right-thinking person that has empathy, that the president has demonstrated over times and time, I will go and consult, does not suggest that I'm telling you yes. And don't forget, there is a statement he made, which is a proviso to everything that captured that day's activity. He said, how many of you among this crowd has your PVC? Those statements are strong. And he also said that presidential election is not computer game. So when people analytically look at statements that comes from a father and authority of that nature, when you dissect them and critically study each of the lines, you will know what it takes. Now, for me, as an individual and as a son and somebody that have closely worked with the president and know who he is, I will state three things clearly on the social airspace today. One is the fact that I have said clearly, this was not the kind of opposition that unseated my president, my boss, in 2015. There was a resolve by a collection of people to say, it should not be President Jonathan, it can be any other person. That kind of resolution is not presently today present in the current opposition we are having. So will I advise my father to find himself in that kind of environment? I will say no. Secondly, is the fact that every person's on different platforms that want to become president. Some have arrogantly masqueraded themselves as gatekeepers of ticket. And so that is why you see some, and you remember on this very platform I had said when ADC was first formed, I said that political party is a party that people hurriedly went into marriage, and such kind of marriage will not stand. What has befallen of it today? The strong persons in that party had left to NDC, which is a former presidential aspirant of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. He's there. He has his own sway. He has also consulted my boss before, and I think my boss had told him then that he wasn't seeking the election. So then, don't see, a lot of things are going to count. Should you as a son tell your father when the prevailing circumstances are clear that first, are we having an election that is going to have a reflection of the Nigerian people's wish? If we are far from it, why do you now come back? What else do you want to prove as former president? Secondly, what is the window period? Thirdly, the opposition as it stands today, former vice president and the former PDP candidate of presidential election, Vice President Atiku Abubakar, still holds it very strong as an entitlement that is going to be the presidential candidate of his party, the ADC. Yesterday, I listened to the fine interview granted by former governor of Rivers State and the former minister of transport, Rotimi Amechi, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi. I heard the very sound presentation made by him. He is also positioned to be the presidential candidate of ADC. And don't forget, we still have Ayatu there too. Then in the NDC, you have somebody that have shown to Nigerian people that is capable, have shown to Nigerian people that he has the empathy, have shown to Nigerian people that is an opposition person. We must give that to Governor Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of a Labour Party in the last election. He has made himself visible, made himself evidently ready, has suggested to Nigerian people that he has an alternative to Nigerians' problem. And he's there. So having all these persons for the same one office, and you are coming from the other. No, I will not advise President Jonathan, my father, to go to that place. Because, my brothers, the Electoral Act, as it's before us today, have suggested so many openings. And there are so many very wicked, ambitious proviso hidden in the Electoral Act. And that is why I'm congratulating the members that have won their seats to the House of Representatives and Senate across political parties, and for those two that sat and superintended over an electoral act that has now suggested to them that they will fill the bond immediately, I also congratulate them. Some are already crying that the primaries were, the consensus or the direct primaries were done in a manner that they've never seen before. It is the first time I'm seeing that on the line of people standing, they can be counting and somebody can migrate, teleport from 101 to 370. These miracles are only done in instances where providers are given the opportunity for it to happen. So
miracles indeed. Let's talk about the opposition. I'm glad you have railed out all of the possible candidates that would emerge either from the ADC and the sole candidate for the NDC, as well as, you know, just showing the plethora of options that are there to hold the #1 office. But let's take a look at PDP and its structure in its entirety. Now, we know that the former president, your father, His Excellency, former President Jonathan Goodluck, was is a chieftain and, of course, one of the founding members of the PDP and a foundational member of the PDP. The PDP has, so far so good, morphed into a shadow of itself, I dare say, and it is now, it has now split into two with different factions. And one of the factions is the Turaki faction, which has thrown its weight behind Goodluck, saying that they want him as a sole presidential candidate. On the other hand, is the Wike faction, who the National Publicity Secretary was here and mentioned that Senator Sandy Ono will be their presidential, or is fingered to be their presidential candidate. So I do have to ask you about whether or not Goodluck Jonathan is looking at the split within the party, whether he has tried for resolutions, whether he has stepped back or is part of, a resolution committee. What has he said so far, just watching the PDP and, of course, the works of Wike?
Now, my sister Judith, I do not think that the split in the party is sufficient enough to suggest that my boss should contest an election. I have made certain indicators very clear. The first is the fact that there are so many persons that have masqueraded themselves as owners of tickets, and those people have resolved that they must be on the ballot.
No, I'm not talking about his bid for elections. I'm talking about the party itself.
I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
I'm going somewhere. Now, if you now look at the current state of the People's Democratic Party, this is the worst, the lowest that the party had ever found itself. The lowest in the sense that we assumed this present dispensation led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with almost about 16 governors under the PDP folds. As we speak today, I'm not sure we have one governor under PDP. As we speak today, people take exodus from PDP as people that are internally displaced. As we speak today, you cannot categorically state clearly that PDP is positioned to win an election like that of the presidential. Yeah, in some states, we may win elections, depend on at the end of the day where the cursor falls down. And another dangerous thing that the Supreme Court has done is a pronouncement that has left everybody in the doubt. People begin to interpret the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment as pastors stand on different pulpits to interpret the scripture, or as a man that holds the Constitution interprets the Constitution to the extent to which he or herself understands it. If I interpret a section of the Constitution today, it's to the level at which I've understood it. It may be different also from the way you will interpret it when you want to interpret it. That does not suggest that the Constitution still does not remember the Constitution. We must not pretend there is a terrible problem in the People's Democratic Party, and it requires the likes of my boss, the former president. It requires the likes of a whole lot of people, Bukola Saraki, the former president of Senate. It requires so many persons to suggest that it is a problem that is caused by the former governor of Rivers State, the current minister of FCT. I always want to disabuse that thing. Why I say I want to disabuse it is the fact that the mistakes that PDP pushed themselves into, if you say a man is responsible for a problem, is it the man that also misled you to create problems that have led us to where we are? I can remember in this very platform, the letter I wrote to the then former chairman that have now taken sabbatical, easily left the complete burden of the party because he was tired of the problem he has created. Ambassador Ede Adamagu, he was tired of the too many problems he had created. So he narrowly escaped through the back and is resting today and have created a chunk of problem. When I requested that you cannot proceed on error, if we had waited in November to do the right thing and had arranged ourselves in December or even somewhere in January, we would not have gotten to Supreme Court. So this is where we are. So when people feel that there is an arrogancy of bitterness, they carry their personal fight into an airspace to want to disrupt a complete structure. that people had invested, labored, and nurtured and built over years. And you now want to be hiding the fact that you are doing this because of this man. Every time you see them sit on the television to discuss the problem in PDP, they discuss the Minister of FCT. They don't discuss the situation. They don't discuss the crisis they have also created. They don't also want to accept the mistake they have made that have led us to where we are. It's just like when you talk about innovation and competition. So what they are doing today is competition, is not innovation. Innovation is a situation where you look at a problem, you create an alternative, and you pursue it for it with the purpose and the intention of addressing the problem you have identified. Competition is when you see a problem, you borrow another means that is also alien to you. To begin to do that, it's just like I set up a beer parlor today, and you, my neighbor, say that because I'm getting wealthy of setting up a restaurant, you go and set up a restaurant. That is not innovation.
Right.
That is competition.
So I have to ask you, sir, and bear with me, my fellow hosts. I just have to ask you, if you're now saying that Wike it's not really the problem, but there's far more foundational issues that have plagued the party, hence what we're seeing now. So that means Wike is not agent provocateur in that sense. So then what could now be the innovation? Can the former president lead that innovation back to what PDP used to be? Can he be the resolution to the problems?
Yeah, my boss has the capacity and the expertise to do that. And I hope that God grants him the grace and the wisdom to do that. And he must not do that on the ballot. He can do that away from the ballot. He can do that by himself. And this, in all sense of honesty, it is long overdue. Mr. President Goodluck Jonathan summons everybody in the PDP, irrespective of somebody's rascality, irrespective of somebody's bitterness, irrespective of somebody's assumption. You can never say no. And if you say no, people that will resist you will be more than you. And so therefore, he can do that. And I hope that people begin to look at the future of opposition in the country from that directive. We also have the former Senate President. I've met with the former Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, and I mentioned to him, I said, sir, the future and the growth of the People's Democratic Party proceeding forward rested on shoulders of people like you. You must stand up to provide that. And every situation raises leaders. That is why they are called situational leaders and transformational leaders. Where the PDP is today, there are no pretense about it. There is a very serious disconnect between the party and the people because of the division that has been created by our selfishness and our wicked policies. Because we have refused to respect that which have brought us together. We have refused to respect the document which people sat and wrote and said, based on this document, these are how the proceedings of this party and the governance of this party should be structured. We have jettisoned that. So therefore, the President Goodluck Jonathan, must not coerce his name to be on the ballot before peace can return to the party. We can do this outside being on the ballot and be futuristic and say, okay, the party is now saying that, okay, we are going to come together to declare our support for this candidate. Meanwhile, we build the party from governorship, from Senate, from House of Representatives, and from the state houses of assembly, preparing ourselves that in the next election, we'll now go forward to say, who told you to that I don't want to be president of that PDP in the future?
Thank you, Comrade Jude Magwe. As we begin to wrap up, my final question to you is this. In social media speak, there's something called clout. And former President Goodluck Jonathan has built a reputation over many years, a closely guarded reputation, is regarded as an African statesman as we speak. And I don't think he'll be happy that people are using his name to chase clout. I've seen a poster of Cristiano Ronaldo selling amala in Ibadan, but it doesn't mean Cristiano Ronaldo is associated with that Booker joint. And I don't think former President Jonathan would like the way people are using his name to chase clout, the Turaki-led faction, saying, you know, they've offered him a waiver and things like this. Do you expect him, and would you advise him to come out and clear the air now before it's been misconstrued as something else, whether he is contesting or not?
Strongly, Benga, I think if there's anything the president should do is to speak up now. Is to speak up now and put an end to all this speculation. is to stand up and tell the Nigerian people I am in or I'm not in. Because my fears are very deep. People should not continue to patronize a name that somebody had taken years to build. And like I stated from the beginning, so many things should not suggest why my president should be on the ballot. Being on the ballot at the same time with people that a zone and a region that expects and give him all the support. If, for instance, President Jonathan goes on the ballot today, have Governor Peter Obi finds himself on the ballot, do you know the kind of bitterness and hatred it would have created for my boss in the Southeast? The Southeast have given him all the support, and they feel at this time they need to be on the ballot.
Okay, I guess this is where we'll drop the curtains on this conversation. We still have quite a lot to unpack on today's show. Thank you so much, Comrade Jude Imagwe, for your contribution. We do appreciate you talking to us and also clearing the air on that. Said, you know, different people can gather until you hear from the horse's mouth. Don't take their words for it. So we approach the situation with caution. My fellow host and hostess, do you have any final questions for Comrade
His name on Chelsea's post.
Comrade Emagwe is back. Comrade, just your final thoughts as we wrap it up, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and God bless us all. Let's keep Nigerians' dream alive, like Arsenal stood for 22 years. Wow. Someday, Nigeria will be great again.
Amen. Thank you.
Jude Imagwe, Special Assistant to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Once again, many thanks. We appreciate you for taking out the time this morning to join us. We wait for the official statement from the former president regarding this clearance by the Turaki-led PDP. And 22 years is a long time, but we do hope that Nigeria comes out, emerge victorious at the end of the day.
Hopefully, if
Nigeria will come out earlier than 22. We are not Arsenal. Nigeria is very strong.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That doesn't. That's enough. I think Arsenal fans are really on YouTube. We do have some comments here. They said, "Benga, please change this guest. What is he saying about the Arsenal?" You know, I hope Jonathan is not going to do this. Should remain the elder statesman that he has become. And Baba Goodluck Jonathan, we love you. Please accept to be campaign director of Obi Kwankwaso for a new Nigeria. Oh wow, that's a request people are making. Goodluck Jonathan is simply playing a spoiler to who remains to be known with time. My guess is he's working for APC. If so, this will dent his goodwill he has built for himself. And so on and so. Remember, he also went to a church where the priest, if I recall, had told him, "Please don't run. Okay, if you do that, you're going to spoil."
Oh yes, I remember.
Don't.
And it was, I think it was just this last weekend.
Yeah, this Sunday or something like that. And told him, "Please don't try it," and so on and so forth. But it's good to speak with someone who has been so close to him, has worked very closely with him, and has highlighted that, listen, these are all rumors. And the video of the Turaki-led faction has raised concerns, which I also asked. Your party is in disarray. Your faction is also having a critical time that has not been recognized. And yet you're going to bring in someone who has built a name for himself, name it as a former, professor, lecturer, you name it, a deputy governor, became, the president and so on. Come on. Well, let's bring to you what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central for the next hour. For this hour, Breakfast Central, the picture you see there on the screen, finally EFCC says they tracked and caught the former power minister. NDC screening panel begins and definitely ended yesterday with Peter Obi coming up as the sole candidate. And we'll also bring to you more information concerning the NDC. Stay with us.
And you're welcome back. We switch gears from the PDP and now to the NDC, as the Nigeria Democratic Congress has appointed former Ebonyi State Governor Senator Sam Igbo to chair its 17-member screening panel for presidential, governorship, senatorial, and House of Representative aspirants ahead of the 2027 elections. The panel is tasked with vetting aspirants for the presidency, governorship, Senate, and House of Representatives ahead of the 2027 general elections. Observers say it is a significant move, not just because of Igbo's stature as a respected elder statesman and former Minister of Education, but also because of the caliber of other members, including figures like Buba Galadima, Professor Udanta, and Hanatu Tanko.
The NDC says the panel will ensure transparency, credibility, and internal democracy in its candidate selection process. But questions remain. Will this panel truly deliver fairness, or will it fall into the same pitfalls of political favoritism and godfatherism that Nigerians have long criticized?
This is to satisfy that following the screening of the presidential aspirant of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, His Excellency, and being satisfied that he has complied with all the requirements of the Constitution of the party and all provisions of the Electoral Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, dealing with eligibility to contest presidential election. And given the satisfactory answers given by him to all the questions from members of the National Screening Committee, is hereby cleared to contest in the presidential primaries of the party for the 2027 presidential election on the date to be announced by the party.
Successfully screened and cleared to contest in the presidential primaries of the party. On behalf of the party, on behalf of the national chairman and every member of the party, I hereby present to you officially your nomination form. This nomination form is, the serial number is 001, and it is done for...
Well, joining us for this conversation are spokesperson Peter Obi Media Reach, that's POMR. We have Comrade Ibrahim Umar Wase and NDC House of Rep aspirant all the way from Uweli, joining us, Uweli Udu Federal Constituency, Delta State. We also have Omo Kinovo Otarigo joins us as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Otarigo, for being here. And also thank you, Umar, as well, for joining us. Let me start off with Mr. Umar, all the way from our studios in Abuja. The sentiments are that Mr. Peter Gregory Obi will always go for where there's no stress, no problem, no competition, hence why he's super excited that he's the only person in the NDC, and it's just a walk by. It's an easy thing, no competition. What do you say to that? And do you also suggest that maybe the NDC did not open its doors a bit early for more people to participate concerning the 2027 presidency or the elections?
All right. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And I would like to start first and foremost by congratulating Arsenal fans globally. I'm an Arsenal fan. And regarding your question, His Excellency Peter Obi has been consistent, both in words and in action. There is nothing to fear in any political party, and Peter Obi has been a very courageous person. It has nothing to do with fear, but his principles. He has been consistent in saying that I can be in a political party that is willing to do the right thing for the Nigerian people. So it's not about any other person. We all know that His Excellency Peter Obi is, as far as Nigerian democracy is concerned, one of the few who have organic followership in Nigeria. So with that, he both have the backing of the people, and clearly every political platform would like to have a person like him. But don't forget, he is someone who stands for his ideal. He believes that for us to rescue Nigeria from the malady and tyranny that has been unfolding since the return to democracy in 1999, someone has to show it both in word and action. So he's coming to the NDC has nothing to do with fear. It has to do with his ideal. And the NDC has been open to every candidate to come up and contest with His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi, and nobody has shown up. So to sum everything up, His Excellency Peter Obi has been consistent in his words, so it has nothing to do with fear.
Okay, let's also speak with our other guest as well. You've seen all of these things play out back to back, from moving from one party to the other, and now it seems like Mr. Peter Gregory and Kwankwaso have been exonerated from the fact that many said they're just political nomads, as a guest did put it yesterday again. You're in support of the NDC. You are part of the NDC. Any chances, do you think the NDC stands a chance to actually pick the ticket looking at 2027? And what are your plans for the primaries? Let me also ask that very quickly.
Yeah, so first of all, one thing we need to understand is that NDC is a party built to serve the needs of the people. So what that means that from primaries through to the election, the party really considers candidates who are qualified and who are ready to serve the people. I'm glad about the screening of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi yesterday. You know, it tells you that the party has looked at the substance which Peter Obi will bring on board, and like the other guests mentioned, you know, he's the only candidate that has that natural followership amongst all candidates right now running for this election. Now, coming to the other levels of primaries, from the governorship down to the Senate to the House of Rep, the mood and the tempo within the party is so cordial. There's no rivalry, there's no fighting. Everybody is geared up to do their best to be sure that they skip through the first part of screening, then head on to the primaries. Unlike some other political parties where there will be rancor, in NDC, it's been very, very peaceful.
In NDC, has been very, very peaceful. But let's also look at the issue of, after the screening comes the primaries. Will the person who's leading the screening panel be fair? Although they've said that he's an astute man, they've reeled out his qualifications. But would he be fair? Because there are also heavyweights that are trying to go in using the NDC as a vehicle to go into these positions of power. That's one. And then two, at the primaries, do you have delegates really when it comes to down ballots at voting at the primaries? Because screening is one, the primaries is another. How much of a structure does NDC have when it comes to the grassroots?
So first of all, in terms of the fairness on the part of the panel screening, Sam Egu is somebody who has led the people of Ebonyi State with fairness and has built a credible record for himself. If you look at his antecedents in Ebonyi State, you know that he developed so much, he spent so much resources on education, developed his people, and is known to be a fair person. So the idea of the question whether he's going to be fair or not should not come up, because he is somebody who is outstanding. And like I said, the party is founded on the need to serve the people. And for the party to come together and select Sam Egu as the head of the screening team, it shows that he is.
Go ahead. Sorry to have caught you. Please continue.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that for the party to have selected the screening committee, it shows that he has the capacity to lead with fairness. And when, in the screening process, we really need people who have that integrity, not people who will come to circumvent the process and favor some other people. So we are really, really confident that yes, the screening process will be thorough and to be for the interest of the people, and to be in the interest of Nigeria.
Sorry, I asked about the grassroots as well. Your structure at grassroots when it comes to the primary and the down ballots.
Yes, at the grassroots level, The good thing about this current primary is that it's a direct primary, which means candidates will have to test their popularity, and which means that candidates will have to work closely with their members at the ward level, at the state level, as the case may be, in their constituency. So someone like me, we have a robust structure on ground where, because over the years, we've worked with our communities, we've built our communities, we helped many young people to sort out their personal needs. We've come to the aid of many neglected clusters of the community. So we have people on ground who are there to pull through at the primary level. But beyond that, I would say that at these current primaries, it is a test of popularity of individuals who are coming up to serve. And I think this is one of the a major highlights of this current election. So when the parties, we're not depending on just certain level of delegate. No, how many people are showing up to say, yes, this is a candidate we need to represent us in the forthcoming election?
Now, I'd like to direct my next question to Comrade Wase in our Abuja studios. This is former Governor Peter Obi's outing. I remember what happened in 2023. There were so many people that got on the Labour Party wave and did win elective office. They didn't really scrutinize them. And when they got to Parliament or different positions that they won, a few years down the line, they all decamped and went to the ruling APC. So my question to you is there what's the mechanism for screening out those who are genuine NDC supporters? And what's the guarantee that history will not repeat itself this time around?
There is a belief in Nigeria that politics is just strictly for someone's personal interest. There is nothing ideological about Nigerian politics. But in 2023, His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi defies that by making Nigerians to believe again that true patriotism and true love for Nigerians will still be manifested in Nigerian politics. So unfortunately, we have a lot of people in the Labour Party, some of the people that just run, some of them, as you rightly mentioned, on a silver platter, decamping to the ruling All Progressive Congress, notwithstanding His Excellency Peter Obi and the NDC learn from that past experience. And we are trying to forge ahead. Forging ahead means that every candidate this time around has to pass through proper scrutiny. And the scrutiny, the parameters this time around is making sure that you are not just there to win an election. You are there to make sure that you deliver for Nigerian people. And you are there for the mandates of each and every one of the electorate. In the Labour Party, most of these people use His Excellency Peter Obi's popularity to win the election. But it's not going to be business as usual, because we learn our lesson from the past mistakes. So each and every candidate from the House of Assembly up to the governor and Senate have to be proven that they are for the people, not themselves. And that's why we select people of clear track record and antecedents to come and lead the screening process, to make sure that no stone is left unturned. And clearly, we have seen from different angles that the people that are vying for seats in the NDC are clearly people of good track record, just like our principal. So NDC is clearly not going to make the same mistake done by the Labour Party.
Okay, let's go back to Abuja right now, and I'd like us to look at the fact that Can you confirm to us how many people you have in terms of registered members under the NDC? Is there any likelihood that you have the details, the information of how many persons have been registered under the NDC so far?
You know, from the day His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi took his own membership card of the NDC and His Excellency Rabi Musa Konkosu, we had a lot of people to register in millions on the NDC platform. But you know, the space upon which the space of time people had to register was not as wide as those of the other party. So NDC have a lot of people in millions. I think the first day, more than 19 million people or so register on the platform of the NDC. I can't say the exact number now, but I know a lot of people in millions have registered and obtained their NDC membership card.
Obtain their membership card. Lastly, for Otaribo, I do have to ask you, so far so good. 2027, the road is now on course. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso are likely to be the leader, of this of the park that are going in. But I want you to speak on some of the persons that are hopefuls as well, who will be screening, some of the individuals that are on the aspirant faithful, or rather, should I say, aspiring aspirants that are on those tickets or nomination, who have picked up nomination forms. Can you talk a bit for just Nigerians to understand who are the persons that are on these tickets and what we intend to see, or what we will see come in the coming weeks?
All right, thank you for that. So basically, many Nigerians have turned up to join our party, the NDC, and many of which are people of high integrity. And it's cut across all states, from the north to the south. I mean, all candidates, majority of the candidates who are coming are people with robust structure, good identity, Now, talking about my state, for example, from my constituency, they are quite beyond myself aspiring for this position. There are other candidates too who are aspiring for this position. And what I've always championed in my political campaign is this. In this election, it has to be an election of ideas, of integrity. It's not an election of money. Gone are the days where money alone will influence the needs of these people. Because if it's money alone, some other political party will not even have a chance. So now candidates must prioritize on key deliverables. If, for example, those who are said who will be representing their people at the House of Representatives, do they really understand the essence of representation? How much are they organized enough to be sure that in their candidacy, when they emerge the elected ones, what is their plans to serve the people? And that's where I'm coming in. For me, for example, I intend to redefine what representation means. People really don't understand what it means to represent the people at the House of Representatives. It's the most time when you speak with aspirant, they talk about projects, building a hospital. That's fine. But the truth is, representation means you are the eye, the mouth, the head of the people at the National Assembly from your constituency. So what I intend to do personally is to make sure that I am available for people to interact with. It's one key element of representation. Be able to meet with your people, have town hall meetings, listen to the needs of the people. And my principle is based on listen, understand, advocate, act, and report back to the people. Then before we now talk about the aspect of making laws, which is influencing policies that will improve healthcare, education, and all that. For example, how many of us have direct contact with the people representing us at the National Assembly? Sometimes when there are problems within our community, we depend on social media activists to help us. Ideally, it is your representative, it's your rep at the House of Representatives that will carry up certain when there are problems with in the community, it is the House of Representatives that will take up such issues. The other day we saw Ogenemine was killed in Delta State. What role did those representing that constituency play in making sure the family gets justice? It's not just for social media activists. The essence of representation is to be sure that the people who cannot get to the position that you are sitting gets the representation through you. And that is part of what we are bringing on board. We are trying to revolutionize what representation means. We are going to have call centers in different communities, whereby the presence of the House of Rep member, which is my candidacy, should be felt in every community that I represent in Ughelli North, Ughelli South, and Udu Federal constituencies. And when I do that, I'm helping the party because it means that the party, NDC, has delivered in that constituency. And that is what is expected from all candidates. It should be replicated across board to be sure that the interest of Nigerians and the interest of our party is upheld at all times.
Upheld indeed. Well, we wait to see what happens at the screening exercise, and we do hope that the momentum that NDC has gained so far doesn't, reduce by the time they get into office, and then we see another mass defection that we saw with this dispensation. Well done to both of you. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you for joining us this morning. Thank you.
We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at more stories here on Breakfast Central. Do stay with us.
And welcome back. A lot is happening with our politics just ahead of the 2027 elections. Should I say a beehive of activities? And those activities are at the National Secretariat of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, as the party continues with its sale of nomination and expression of interest forms to party aspirants. While many of them express optimism in the chances of the party in the upcoming general elections, they say that the process so far at the party secretariat has gone smoothly. Our correspondent Charles Pius was at that exercise and brought us this report. Take a look.
In this hall are aspirants vying for different positions across federal, state, and local government on the platform of the Nigeria Democratic Congress. Party chieftains say the summit has become necessary to align the interest of the contestants with that of the party.
The majority of them do not even know the focus and the attention of what we want to do. The obedient movement and Concosia are interested in a new Nigeria. And so therefore, let them understand the constitution of the party. Let them understand what we want to achieve in 2027. And so we felt very important to converge and talk to ourselves. We don't need to have rancor within ourselves, but we understand where we are heading and what we want to give Nigeria.
Speakers at the summit raised key issues on building a formidable opposition, entrenching party ideology, trust for the electoral umpire, and alleged interference by external forces.
The only chance they have is by using you to facilitate chaos in your own political parties in such a way that they can write figures and announce themselves. Can we agree to this? No! I want to say, without fear, that INEC can never do justice to us.
To be elected is one thing. To know what to do is a different thing. The problem has always been that people smartly get themselves elected, but don't know what to do to achieve that objective.
Others addressed the issue of mode of conducting its forthcoming primary elections, demanding that the party toes the path of justice.
I'm ready to step down for any candidate that is capable and has the capacity. What we want is a new Nigeria.
We expect that the process would equally prove that there's something we are looking up to, which should be transparent and all-encompassing process during the primaries. Where they are able to convince people on consensus, that would be welcome. But where the aspirants feel they should subject themselves to the test through the primaries, that also should be respected.
The high point of the event was the interactive session which allowed the aspirants to contribute to the conversation, followed by the launch of a fundraiser for the purchase of the presidential nomination form for former Anambra Governor Peter Obi. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
Well, there you have it. All of the big wigs for the NDC. Now we'll switch gears away from that, but and talk about women in leadership. And this time it's pretty much one of the issues that touch at my heart. Now, the Citizenship and Leadership Training Center has convened a national conference in Abuja to address the persistent underrepresentation of women in governance and public affairs. Now, the summit brought together policymakers as well as captains of industry and youth to develop strategies, of course, and ways to improve on women when it comes to women filling those gaps, those leadership gaps, or better yet, bridging the leadership gap. Let's bring you this report from earlier.
The room is filled with female participants from diverse sectors, ranging from secondary school students to top government functionaries, all mobilized by the Citizenship and Leadership Training Center.
Can I be heard?
Available data indicates that while women contribute significantly to national development, driving up to 80% of agricultural output and comprising nearly half of the informal labor force, systemic barriers have restricted their political representation in Nigeria to a meager 6.7%. Organizers maintain that this conference is designed to actively dismantle those institutional barriers and bridge the gender gap.
It gives women the opportunity, young women, to see that it can be done. Having conferences like this enables women to understand what is needed to enable them achieve and reach the heights in their respective careers. And it creates avenue for networking, where you build a network within the ecosystem that you exist that will give you the necessary support to build your career.
Throughout the sessions, speakers stressed the urgent need to equip the next generation of female leaders with the technical and political capacity to drive innovation, sustainable business growth, and inclusive governance across the Federation.
There is a wide gap in gender representation when it comes to power, when it comes to leadership, especially in government, also in even private spaces. So we're trying to encourage young women to let them know that the sky is not the limit. You know, there's a lot that they can do as long as they tap into their inner potential and work really hard to develop themselves. So it's a platform that we've set up since 2024 to encourage, to inspire, to support young women in attaining their aspirations.
Wherever you find yourself, putting your very best. Just work hard. Look at my sister Pebek. Look at Rinsola. We're all in politics and they're all putting their best. And I want you to get more involved. Public service, politics. Not all of you can do it, but if it's in you, just do it.
Featuring high-level panel discussions with women leading in business and public administration, the summit drew over 3,000 physical and virtual attendees, including tertiary students, youth corps members, and policymakers, all deliberating under the theme Innovate, Influence, Impact, accelerating young women's roles in national development.
For them, if women would just be given the kind of support, the required support that they need, to attain all of the many things that, of course, we've seen the men folk achieve, then maybe probably would see more women participate, whether it's in politics, in policy, in governance, in business, in trade, and in all of the different walks of life that's important for participation of women to drive this industry.
In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
Interesting development there. Always great when women come together to discuss issues bordering on national development. Like I say, my Woman Crush Wednesday is here, and I'm sure she has one or two things to say about that conference, and also the earlier story we took on NDC nomination forms, the summit, people coming together. It's all good and happy now until we see the fallout of their primaries.
And primaries, indeed, is all good and dandy. But also, if they're able to hold their primaries as tight as they possibly can, I mean, we've heard from both members of the party earlier on, before the break, and if they're able to hold their primaries tight and scale through successfully without any controversies, any hitches, and they're able to get some sort of persons into the party, the test of the party will be the same test that Labour Party failed, and that is mass defections. If they can go through that, then it's
but I mean, whether for good or bad, the thing is, the INEC, the lawmakers, some says they shot themselves in the foot or in the head by this electoral act. There's nowhere to run to. You can't defect. You accept your fate and stay where you are. But we have another story for you in response to widespread misinformation surrounding Nigeria's recent tax reforms. The federal government says that it will commence the sensitization of the public on the provisions of the nation's tax laws. And you're wondering why this is coming at this time. Well, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, while announcing that the ministry will partner with the Tax Ombuds Administration to boost public awareness and combat misinformation regarding tax matters, says that the initiative will help foster a more transparent economic environment by ensuring tax-related policies are clearly communicated and widely understood. Idris adds that while the Tax Ombuds safeguards taxpayers' rights by promoting efficient revenue collection, it will also create a balanced, predictable environment that encourages voluntary compliance and boosts investor confidence.
People who didn't understand what tax administration or tax compliance or tax increase or whatever you call it was, became really very negative towards it. Therefore, the National Assembly, the executive branch, had to go back to the drawing board to really begin the process of public enlightenment for people to really understand. Because at that point, what we saw was that even those who were criticizing the document hadn't actually even seen the document. So there was misrepresentation, mischaracterization, and sometimes outright mischief about the whole program. But now the tax ombud is not just there for the person collecting taxes. It's also there for the person who is paying taxes, ensuring that there is equity, there is fairness, and there is justice in the administration of taxes in this country.
Very important to have that conversation, but that's one we'll look into in the course of our programming here on News Central. The Ombudsman, if you have any issues, who do you run to? And the connection, especially with Nigerians and the tax system. But all of that is a conversation you should look out for. Well, let's move on now and tell you that operatives of the Kogi State Police Command have intercepted a vehicle conveying substances suspected to be illicit drugs in the Kaba area of the state. Police authorities say the seizure was made during a stop-and-search operation by officers attached to Kaba Area Command, leading to the arrest of 2 suspects, allegedly transporting 339 wraps of suspected Indian hemp from Ekiti State to Adamawa State. Our correspondent, Mana Balagbobo, tells us more.
Police authorities say intelligence-led operations and routine stop-and-search measures led to the interception of a suspicious vehicle allegedly transporting illicit substances through the state. According to the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, the suspects were intercepted during routine security operations in Kaba.
Operatives of the Area Command, Kaba, while on routine stop-and-search duty, intercepted a Honda Pilot Jeep with registration number LSD456GE. The vehicle was driven by one Chris Amos M, aged 52 years, while one Bilal Joseph M was seated as the passenger. Upon conducting a thorough search of the vehicle, the operatives discovered 339 wraps of substances reasonably suspected to be Indian hemp concealed inside the vehicle.
Authorities further revealed that preliminary investigations point to a possible criminal network behind the movement of illicit consignment, with efforts on the way to track down other suspects linked to the operation. The suspects narrate how the journey allegedly begun.
On getting to Ekiti, we were there. Somebody came and picked the car and said he's going to load it while we were eating in a small restaurant. He was trying to get across to my boss. My phone was not reachable. My phone was lost. So when they bought the car, confidently, I didn't even expect this is what is inside and what was concealed inside. When we were on our way from Kaba to Okene, Kaba Junction, we were now intercepted.
He asked me to escort him, that he have a machine to deliver in Ekiti. So after delivering the machine. I don't even know they took the car to load this.
They're supposed to stock in.
While investigations are ongoing to uncover the full network behind the intercepted consignment, the police say residents can be rest assured of proactive policing and crime prevention across the state. In Kogi, for News Central, Moino Balagbubu.
That's a good development, by the way, and we do hope that the issue bordering on drugs will be one that we would forget maybe in the future.
We keep
Sunday
skirting around issues of drugs. All we do is we just announce drug busts, drug interceptions, but we hardly take a critical look at the effects and the widespread use of drugs amongst Nigeria's population, which has reached a critical point. There are many, many rehabs. There's some that are even unregistered rehabs that people have been taken to. We don't know how harmful this proliferation of drugs and its effect on society is. We just keep announcing drug busts and all of that. And I think as members of the press, we need to do a better job in doing documentary series and also highlighting the ills of illicit drug use and drug abuse that is widespread across the country, not just narcotics, but also even pharmaceutical. There's drug abuse there because you have day laborers that think it's harmful for them to pop pills just to give them extra strength, and then they get addicted. It causes liver problems and all sorts of issues for them.
Yeah, kidney issues as well. And not just that. We also have to give credit to the content creators as well. They have been the one to sort of. I always say that the one of the gains of social media is the democratization of access and information. There's also the downfalls of that. But the good part of it is that it has also brought to fore some of the near issues that we have when it comes to substance abuse. We have seen viral videos of these content creators speaking to those who are affected by drug abuse, and it has gotten to the point of addiction where it has left them destitute. And so, I mean, you make a very critical call, and this is just me adding my voice to, the fact that more needs to be done, and also at the governmental level, state level, and local government level as well.
Absolutely. Well, let's also inform our guests that today will be another day, especially it is actually the D-Day here in Lagos State. There has been twists and turns. We're going to get that queue ready for 2027 as we count down 2027, the elections. Just yesterday, the opposition, or you could say the one who was looking to contend with the current deputy governor of Lagos State, who is now running for the governor of Lagos State yesterday, decided to take a different turn. He came out to say, listen, he's going to drop, his decision to run against the deputy governor, and he's going to support him. In other words, what we're about to see in the APC in Lagos State, there's going to be just one candidate, and that's where the consensus comes in, where everybody decides to drop and cave in and say, listen, we're going to support. Now, that's what we see.
But I thought he was acting tough, because, I mean,
he was acting tough.
After Mr. President's endorsement and the GAC's endorsement, I mean, what
he
else
said he was going to go
want?
ahead.
Yeah.
I'm worried because buying that form isn't cheap. 50 million naira is not beans. So after buying the form, he had a mild campaign somewhere in Lagos here, and the crowd was huge. So after all the people came out, you printed flyers, you printed T-shirts, face caps. Well, you shared food. I don't know if you gave 1,000 naira.
We posed this question to Mr. Abibarona as a guest, and he said he has money.
He said he has money, and then again he also said
giving
that
back to society.
He's not a serious person. He's going to drop. And yesterday wasn't anything short when we saw him make the
yesterday proved that he was a pretender and not a contender.
There you go. So in every election cycle we have the pretenders and the contender. I think it's good for Lagos because it's not going to be in the case of former Governor Ambode versus Governor Sanwo-Olu. We saw what happened back to back there, where they went head to head.
He actually went to the primaries.
Head
He went to the primaries and he lost at the
head to head.
primaries.
Even before the primaries, the talks were tough. It was much more like you're about to watch WrestleMania.
Yeah,
or
it
you're
was
about to
almost
see a
like they
boxing
weren't
bout.
even members of the same party anymore.
Exactly.
Because there were allegations of mudslinging.
Yeah, not allegations. I mean,
No,
you
he
saw that,
actually
'cause he
did.
said it, during his press
I was
conference.
actually there at that
Yeah,
press conference in
yeah.
governor's office.
Exactly. He said those things.
So much was said, and we were thinking
But
that this
we're
would
also
be
looking
a
at
repetition.
I mean, beyond the race for governorship and the ticket for the APC governorship for Lagos State, there are also House of Assembly seats that many people are keeping a keen eye on. And I'm talking of that of Surulere 1, I believe, for the Lagos State House of Assembly, the seat of Honorable Desmond Elliott, who's been there for 12 years. And I've never seen such a keenly contested seat for a House of Assembly. You know, doing interviews, the media exposure, and it's almost like a godfather, a godson going against the will of Godfather and great godfather.
And great
godfather. And we're looking to see how that pans out. But it doesn't seem, he's not conceding, he's not budging. He's going to test his popularity.
And I hope that, look, the fallout of this will be televised, and it would add more. If it doesn't turn out favorable for him, I suspect that might just be the end of his political career, at least for this time. He might have to take a break.
But the good thing is he has a second address. He was a professional.
Right.
He's a thespian.
Right. Same with the former governor of Lagos State. We don't see him, at political gatherings. We don't see him when it comes to diplomatic issues or other states issues, right? And so that's really, for me, is long term. When you have to run is there going to be a last minute conceding? I hope so. If there's going to be, I'm playing the devil's advocate here, because I have to put out this caveat. Let me just put out this caveat, or more like just a caveat. I'm taking up my hat as a journalist. I'm putting on the hat of a politician in training, but also an observer of politics. We've seen this play out before in the past, as Oju has rightfully pointed out, and many of the analysts that have come on. And we saw this with Ambody, and they went on to the primaries, and it was clear, day and night, the differences were there, right? And I hope that this would not be the case, and I hope that this would not be the case. But if you can see the signs, and you have seen precedents at a more larger scale, the advice will be at least the last minute concede. Why? Is because we want a future ahead. If you still have hopes to run, or rather to still do politics within Lagos State, you already know the godfathers and those who run, the scene.
A lot has been said, but let's wait and see. Today there will be the determining factor. The determining factor would be seen today concerning the case of Desmond Elliott. And in Surulere, but pictures also emerged showing Desmond Elliott, lifting up the current. It's crazy. It's crazy in the sense that it was mentioned that a lot of persons conceded so that you can actually win. It was now time for you to concede so that the other person can also win. Who had conceded for you, you're saying no. The method in which it was done, you don't appreciate it. I mean, 12 years is enough to have done so much for your community and for the people of Surulere. But if that's the case, our job here is to ensure that we'll bring all the updates. And you can bank on us here at News Central. By the way, we also reached out to Desmond Elliott to be here this morning, but unfortunately, we do understand that today is going to be a very tough day. So reasons why he may not have been able to connect with us and join this morning to share a little bit of his side of the story. But he's been talking a lot, and he's been saying enough. Another issue that's bothering the minds of Nigerians is the fact that it's been 48 hours since the senatorial primaries ended, and APC is yet to announce winners. After they put out a circular that everyone should discard, listening to announcements made in different local government areas, rather they should wait for the authenticity that
But
definitely will come
some of
from
the
the
winners
National
have been
Working
declaring
Committee.
themselves winners.
And
like
after the National
Ogun State East.
I just wanted to make it clear. So after they said, until you hear from the National Working Committee, and the highlight of this conversation is it's been 48 hours. And the National Working Committee has not put out the winners. So where do we expect to hear the winners?
Yeah, from the horse's mouth.
That's why they are busy.
The governor of Ogun State has announced himself as winner. So
if I were
at face value.
If I were to play the devil's advocate, I'll also say that INEC takes a long while to also announce winners as well. So, I mean, who knows? They might just be following, they might just be following precedents and records have been set. Again, the APC, I mean, we've talked about the APC, and I don't want to hamper more on the APC. So I'll just say, the clock is ticking. It's a bad look. Do what you got to do, but make it quick.
They have to.
Make haste.
There's no time.
Make haste.
And I also want to give, this is away from politics, kudos to the NCDC, the National Center for Disease Control. There's an Ebola outbreak in Uganda and the DRC that has claimed 131 lives so far. And Ebola is no respecter of borders. And I have to thank them for being vigilant and doing a yeoman's job, because that's the last thing we want on top of insecurity and every other challenge that we're facing. So I believe they deserve a bell ring, or maybe it's still early.
Yes,
it's still early.
I mean, but again, my daddy will say, before the child have made mistakes, you have to commend the child for hard work well done. So that's what daddy will say. I say you must commend the child. He has not made a mistake yet. Let's just commend him first. Maybe that will serve as a deterrent not to make a mistake. Shout out to that.
While we're prepared to bring to you breakfast headlines, let's just mention that there are a few stories that we know will continue to remain as top stories in the headlines. One, the APC primaries. We're sure that it will go down even into the weekend. And a big one today, of course, Desmond Elliott finding out how he fared. He will be served today, so he would get to know the results. Not a big one.
It will test
it's
his
the phone
popularity.
tapping. The phone tapping. Madam Nasser Rufai and, of course, the NSA, a National Security Advisor, Noor Ribadu, coming out to say, yes, my phone was actually tapped.
Wow.
That's a big one as well.
What's the evidence for that?
Oh, yeah, of course, the evidence is, I mean, you
How did he know that?
How does he know that his phone
Come
was
on,
tapped?
come on, guys. Come on.
I mean, if somebody is listening from the outside,
how do you know?
I mean, he will have to present it in court. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to prove.
Yeah, because, gentlemen, remember that the only time he got picked up by the DSS was because of that interview where he made the statement there. And that's what they said, instructed them to go to that. So if he never said it, would they have picked him up?
Say what you
Would
may.
they have known?
All we care about, all we know is that these are the stories that will make the headlines. I've mentioned 3 of them. I don't know what yours are, but there's another one I know will keep making the headlines, even though Judah Marquis joined us and said, no, they are just
President Jonathan
being Arsenal and all that. President Jonathan will still make the headlines between now and possibly before end of next week.
That's if he doesn't come out today
If it doesn't come out.
dispel or confirm.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, breakfast headlines is up next, and then the front pages of the newspapers. So stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on News Central's Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at the headlines this moment. We'll begin with the news concerning security developments, especially across Nigeria. The Defense Headquarters says terrorists have not established any operational base in the southwest, describing the recent attack in Oyo State as an isolated criminal incident, despite rumors flying around. Well, military authorities say earlier clearance operations around the old Oyo National Park had significantly weakened criminal groups operating within the corridor. The assurance comes amid growing concerns following the abduction of students and teachers during attacks on schools in Orire local government area of Oyo State. According to the Defense Headquarters, security operations across the southwest remain active to prevent further attacks and sustain peace and stability in the region. The Defense Headquarters has announced that joint counter-terrorism operations between Nigeria and the United States have dealt with ISIS terrorists operating in the northeast, with at least 175 militants reportedly killed in coordinated strikes. In a statement issued by Major General Samaila Uba, Director Defense Information, the military said the operations were carried out in close coordination with the United States Africa Command as part of intensified efforts to dismantle terrorist networks in the region. According to the statement, the joint strikes targeted ISIS checkpoints, weapons depot, logistics centers and financial networks, sustaining insurgent activities across northeast. The defense headquarters disclosed that the operations also led to the destruction of military equipment used by the terrorists and disrupted their movement and communication structures. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum has assured residents of Musa community in Askira Uba local government area of the safe release of 48 abducted school children kidnapped by terrorists, that all efforts are being put in place to secure their safe release. The governor made this known during a visit to Uba town, where he conveyed his heartfelt sympathy to the emir, the parents of the abducted children, and the entire people of the Uba Emirate over unfortunate incident. He commanded the military and other security agencies for taking proactive measures to prevent a further deterioration of the security situation in the area. The governor also disclosed that the brigade commander, commanding officer, divisional police officer, and other heads of security establishments have already been deployed to strengthen security and facilitate the safe return of the abducted children. Let's show you that a faction of the People's Democratic Party led by Kabiru Turaki has said that it has waived screening requirements for former President Goodluck Jonathan ahead of its presidential primary. Speaking in Abuja, Niger State Governor Babagida Aliyu, representing the parties, the screening committee chairman Namandi Sambo, said Jonathan's previous experience as deputy governor, vice president and president made further screening unnecessary. The party also granted a waiver to Taufik Arapaja for the Oyo governorship race. PDP officials say governorship aspirants from several states are still undergoing screening as preparations continue for the 2027 elections. Jonathan remains the sole presidential aspirant of the Turaki-led PDP faction, even though this morning on Breakfast Central, a former special advisor has debunked the rumor. Let's tell you that the Social Democratic Party under the leadership of Shehu Gabam has screened and approved Abimbola Akeem as another presidential aspirant of the party ahead of its primaries holding tomorrow, May the 20th. Akeem, who is an advocate for community policing, says that the screening exercise was rigorous and declared his preparedness for the primaries.
This moment is not about me. It's not about anybody. It's about the future of Nigeria. It's about the future of families that should feel secured, businesses should strive, leadership should be defined, integrity and competence of service. Service to the people is very important. I remain committed to a peaceful issue-based campaign, that one that puts people first, puts our democracy first, the one that grows stronger when ideals compete, when citizens participate freely, and when leadership remain accountable for their services.
And that's all the news we have for you for this hour. Stick around because we have more coming your way. The newspapers' front pages will be up next. I'm Joe Hansen.
You're welcome back to the final hour for Breakfast Central this Wednesday. And that means we are about to go in depth on the stories making headlines today on the major front pages of the newspapers this morning. As always, joining us to the table is one of our special guests. He's part of a family at this point. He's a public affairs analyst, and that's Sheshon Okunade. He joins us live in the studio. Mr. Okunade, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning all to our viewers.
Good morning.
Glad to be with you.
I apologize for her reading an abridged version of your credentials. I'm not just public affairs analyst, the chartered accountant, and an avid golfer.
Yes, indeed.
So, you're welcome, Mr. Okunade.
Welcome. Now, do remember that you can be part of the program, by the way. We're going to be reeling out the numbers to participate, to call in. Remember, this is the only morning show on Nigerian television that is as interactive as ever. So make sure to join in on the conversation with the numbers about to reel out on your screen. Also, we're streaming live on YouTube, and we're taking comments on this. So you can go onto YouTube, join the conversation on our YouTube platform. Let's start off with the Punch newspaper. Joe has it on hand. Joe, good
Definitely.
morning. Yes,
let's look at the first paper this morning. We'll look at the Punch. Like they say, you're going to feel no pain, but let's just give you a punch. How EFCC tracked ex-minister Mamman to Kaduna. Danjuma saved Gowon's Abuja land from El Rufai, according to Kuka. Turaki-led PDP clears Jonathan for 2027 race. I think you have the update of that story. So all media outlets, please ensure that you go back on YouTube and watch the exclusive interview here this morning on Breakfast Central with a special advisor to the former president who says, nah, it's just all statements. It's not true. He wasn't there. Governorship aspirants Sean consensus deal in 10 states. I think we should focus on the APC primaries. That should be the first story. But nope, it's not going to be. Let's go to how EFCC tracked ex-minister Mamman. That should be our first story.
So, do you have plaudits and applause
3:30 a.m.
EFCC for finding one of the most wanted fugitives in Nigeria and doing it in record time, even though it was sentenced in absentia?
Maybe we'll say congratulations to them, but people like us, we will not celebrate this because he's been sentenced. Is he the only one that we want to talk about? There are still several who has misappropriated our funds, and the record is there for them to actually be dealt with. And up to today, we are not having some of those things to have. So you can imagine the magnitude of the funds this minister have actually done. And we come on this platform every now and then complaining that there is no growth because we know how strategic power is to economic development and growth. If we have power in our places, a lot of artisans who today are already turning to be Okada riders and the likes can actually exhibit that God-given creativity in them to bring out the best that is expected of them. And here we are, a lot of people. It's not only the Ministry of Power that we are picking Mamman. There are other ministries. Up till today, do we have any story about the misappropriation of funds under the humanitarian ministry? Then, the former lady, Better Odu. Up to today, we've swept that under the floor and nobody's saying anything about it. So we can't continue. And that's why a lot of us will continue to say it is not the funds that is actually the problem. It's how we are able to monitor the disbursement of this fund for the specific project that will better the lot of an average Nigerian. And to me, it's not something to be celebrated, if you ask me. I think until we have more. So if you're actually jailing him, the other aspect I would want to come in, maybe as a finance person, is that money that he has actually misappropriated. We should first, where is the money?
Recover.
Have we recovered the money? And the finance person in me, as a chartered accountant, is talking that there should be interest that should be charged to it because those funds were supposed to have been used to carry out certain projects that will be beneficiary to the citizen. But it's not done. So give us interest where you have kept the money. Possibly if you have fixed it, we can take alongside the principal some of those money that he has fixed and enjoy the interest. Because I'll tell you, as at the period this money was misappropriated, time value of money is no longer the same thing. So these are areas, but I feel we can expand and enlarge the coverage beyond, because one thing you will say is, give it some weeks. Some people will come out in Ashwebi to come and advocate that this is witch hunting. And that we've always been saying.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Benga, what's up for us?
We've not seen anything like
this
country. But still on this.
I never say never.
Still on this.
When it comes to it, yeah.
Still on this story. I mean, we celebrate these sorts of things when they're caught. EFCC is always happy to reel out these huge numbers, how many billion, 25 billion, X billion of amount. But as a money man, as an accountant, a chartered one at that, what can we do about the system that makes it so easy for people to dip their hands in a public purse and steal this amount of money? Are there no early warning systems? And there should also be collaborators. If they've sentenced him to 75 years in prison, we wish him long life and prosperity. He should also have companions in prison he will be talking
they said they
that chop the money together.
They said they got 3 persons who were hiding, who were keeping him, off the sites of the EFCC. They were helping, they were aiding and abetting.
And hiding him.
Those are the ones aiding and abetting.
Yeah, but we want to know the people that helped him.
He can't do it all alone.
Steal that money. So
you see, in reaction to your question,
yes,
we have every of this policy to checkmate the activities of everyone going. Every organization, every parastatal, every agency has the audit department that verifies everything that needs to go out. Either you are disbursing, either you are carrying out a project, to vet whether those things is actually in line. That's why you see, I'm sure in this organization, nobody will be a friend to your internal auditor. You can do more to the account, because accountants are even more being careful, because he knows that the sledgehammer awaits him when the internal auditor picks up on him.
Oh, yeah.
And when the external auditor now comes to verify your books. And this is where you ask yourself, where is the AGF? Where is the Auditor General of the Federation? These are people that are supposed to look at the books and review certain things that are there. So if you ask me, it's not that we don't have a process. It's not that we don't have those things to check media. But most of the time you have a company and people have this superior boss to say, it's a guy that I've said it to. Just let it go. I don't want any issue. People should stand up on their duty post to challenge things that they know. But most of the time, everybody wants to just do their own bit and see the fair share that comes to themselves.
It looks so easy, because I'm just thinking here on Breakfast Central that Joe would make a requisition. This Joe Hansen-led Breakfast Central that we want to use golden iPads, and they will collect 200 million. Because you're our leader. They always steal from the top. Because I don't know how these things work. It's almost like a walk in the park.
But you know, such thing, once the approval is set in, it goes to the let's say the head of. If he's the head of the department, it goes to the major head that you report to. He checks it. If he or she clears it, it goes to the MD. But before it gets to the MD, the internal control person verify. These are guys that are allowed to go to the market, verify things and say, okay, this iPad that we're actually talking of at 200 million, what is the market value? They come back and say, that will not be approved. And if your own direct boss has approved it, he has an issue with the internal person to checkmate that it will not fly. But situation where you have accomplished, every one of us, okay, this 200 million, is already talking to say, oh God, the whole thing is 20 million. We have 180 million to actually see how we take care of ourselves. You have to secure your future.
Yes.
You know, pension is
so
not
all of them
guaranteed.
You sound like
be
you've been in
arrested.
those meetings before.
Some of those things, I tell you, it's the way people look at the future, not considering the fact that when you take some of this money, where do you spend it? I've seen instances where people will amass all this wealth, and the next thing they tell you is on sick bed. He's not even looking, he does not even have understanding. He doesn't even have understanding how they are spending the money. The money has actually amassed to himself to think he will enjoy. He's no longer there to enjoy. Some will get such money, and few weeks after putting those things together, planning how to start spending, they lose their life, either by accident or they sleep, they can't wake up. Why can't we have that consciousness? And people that have no idea, I mean no idea, how some of these funds were actually put together, either as banker, either as a nest of kin, either as friends, colleagues, go out and maximize how they can utilize the money for themselves. So you ask yourself, what have you gained? You would have used that to actually train individuals.
There are many properties in the UK. The UK government just put out a circular recently on claimed properties belonging to Nigerians.
Because individuals don't want to be identified with some of those things. And you ask yourself, if you have been able to build the life of, upcoming people that will point good fingers at you. You see, what even interests me most is we are discussing this misappropriation. The level at which our politicians these days care less about even the lives of individuals. Up to today, I'm yet to get myself together with what happened in Oyo State because I travel a lot. And I ask myself, we used to hear that thing happened 200 people adopted in Kaduna, in Yobe, in Plateau, and we'll come here, discuss it, and say, how is it happen now? How is those things? Now, just because of your state is
almost next door.
I was still there on Monday. I was in Oyo State on Monday. Most likely over the weekend, I'll be there. And you ask yourself, if those things are smelling very close to, and you remember when we were shouting that Ilorin was under siege, they are already entering the southwest. They said, no, we are covered. We know that all the southwest governors at the time, we discussed it on this table, that they got, was it a helicopter?
Yes.
To be having surveillance.
Yeah.
Where are all this equipment? The same way the federal government got those Tucano jets during the last administration, and we could not get value for why some of these things. So where are those helicopters? Where were they surveilling when this attack happened in Oyo State?
There's also a Moteco.
So it's quite what you know the implication of this that has actually happened. Economic activities in those states.
I want you to pause a bit
in those areas.
implications. I understand we have a caller. Lennon from Abuja is calling in. Lennon, good morning to you.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, Benga, the leader. Good morning, Joe, the leader. Good morning, Benga.
Good morning.
Oh, that's Judith, not Olive.
Did you say? I thought you said Judith.
Oh my goodness.
Lennon
said Judith.
Welcome, Lennon.
Please go ahead. I thought you said Judith. Yeah.
All right, please, I want to talk about this, the politician in Nigeria. You know, my grandfather used to say something. He said, it's only mad people that carry something they don't need. Right? Here, the amount of money that one person is stole. If you spend, do Google, if you spend 2 million every day, you end up spending that money more than 50 years of your life, and it will not finish. And it's impossible to spend 2 million every blessed day. The money that the Kogi guys stole, if you spend 10 million every day, you spend that money over 100 years. Why are they stealing this money? Why? These people have houses in choice areas. They are living the best life. What the citizens are just asking for, just bare minimum. Just bare minimum. People are hardly fit. Understand? So why are you stealing billions? Why? This thing you will not make use of it throughout your lifetime. If you steal 50 billion, what are you going to use it for? Because you can't spend 5 million every day. If you spend 5 million every day, you spend it like 50 years. I mean, every day, 365 days times 50. That money will not finish. Because you have houses already. What are you stealing this money for every day? Okay, what are you contesting for again? The one you contested for before, you've not done anything. You are still contesting. I'm glad what is happening to them in APC. They say, dog eat dog. So what are they complaining? You know them that say, on your mandate, we shall stand. It's the same thing that they passed. That's the same thing that is working against them. So they should deal with themselves. For the young people of Abed, those people they should do. Because watching those videos makes me sad. I don't know how these people.
Thank you very much, Lenin, from Abuja. And I think it's just natural that we move into the other big story. The DHQ, the Defense Headquarters, are saying they're tracking Oyo kidnappers, and still security related. The Generalismo, the Are Ono Kakanfo of Yoruba land, Gani Adams, says 40 Southwest local governments under terror threat. The Defense Headquarters also said terrorists have no known base in the Southwest, and this incident is a one-off. What's your reaction to all of that? It's been more than 48 hours. No kidnapper has been, none of the kidnapped victims have been rescued. And it's leading to a lot of agitation amongst families and loved ones of the kidnapped victims. We've also seen a very gory beheading. What's your take on your situation?
Yeah, thank you very much, Benga. While appreciating security personnel, the military, of some of the work they are actually doing, I have this to say, and it's my personal view, that the word from DHQ saying that it's a one-off incident is not something I will stick by. Understanding the fact that this is how it started under Jonathan, just one thing, and before you know it, they don't have a base in the Southwest. but you've heard of several attacks in Kwara State. Now is Oyo State. How many people...
They'll say Kwara is not central.
If it is, a lot of us still see them to be part of us in the Southwest. So if you are saying not, how many people have we apprehended to say these are the people perpetrating this ill and we are bringing them to justice?
As we ask that question very quickly, we have a caller. Osage from Lagos is calling us. Osage, good morning to you.
Good morning, you guys. I greet everybody in the studio. Good morning.
Right back.
Osage is my name. Yes, last week when I made contribution, I actually forgot to appreciate you guys. You guys, as a media person, you guys are doing a nice job. And I'm very sure any politician that want to be your guest now will have to think twice because of the way you guys are critical with your question, the way professionally you guys are doing a nice job. I must give you guys kudos. Let me say this. Do you know, you see, as I'm speaking to you guys now, if I say anything that is against the law of the land now, the DSI will track me down in my house within 24 hours. That an enemy of the country can behead an innocent citizen, inside the bush within Nigeria territory, and DSS cannot track such useless enemy, and we are negotiating. What you see, we say the security are trying. Don't you have DSS in this country? Don't you have military, IG, or police? Are they not there? If you don't understand what I'm saying, that, okay, let me give a good example. All of us, I want to believe everybody in the student, our father, our parent. How will you feel, even though maybe you are a pastor or a deacon in your church, deaconess, that your neighbor, because you have issue with your son when you were away, and when you just enter, your neighbor was angry, came to your sitting room and slapped your son, even though you are the most gentle person on earth. Will you take it? That's what the terrorists are doing. They are killing citizens. And let me drop this one. When President Tinubu was the leader of opposition APC in 2012, 2013, 2014, he told President Jonathan to resign if he cannot protect Nigeria. But now he's the president. Where is Sunday Igboho that was drafted during President Buhari time? From Oyo State. Now, in Oyo State, they came. No. Let's stop this now. The APC are busy doing primary election while the citizens are being slaughtered. And the only thing that concerns them is election. No, this is not fair now. Let's see it now. It's not fair.
Yeah. We have to move. Thank you so much, Osage.
Osage, thank you very much. Critical questions you raised, right, when it comes to security. But more than ever, it begs to ask a question about that video. Though there's a viral video now on social media from the family of the victim that lost his life in that attack from the beheading, who have now said that they have also put out a PSA to everyone, to meaningful Nigerians, to please stop circulating the video, the graphic, horrific scenes of their relative being beheaded. And so our hearts goes out to the family. Unfortunately, this conversation still needs to be had, even though those videos are finding their way around. We have to still have these conversations, so bear with us. How did that video get on social media in the first place? If we say we have forensic tools at our arsenal to combat terrorism and banditry and kidnapping, how did these type of video filter onto social media? Because I believe that that's the key to finding the perpetrators of this crime.
Yeah, you see, it's still disturbing when after 48 hours, we don't have an in-roll into where those guys are. And like the last caller said, let's even leave that we are on public TV now. Just stay under your roof in one remote village, provided it's this phone. You used to push out that word or comment. Give it 24 hours, they will track you. And I can tell you that we have the resources to actually track those information with the Nigerian police force once it is about this phone. But you ask yourself, do we have that political will to do what is needful? After 48 hours, we are still, asking ourselves questions. We will track them. We will track them, or we have actually tracked them. There are times, when you are discussing, because some of us are analysts, people will be telling you that
what gives you the authentication that the people they are parading are the major culprits that perpetrated that ill? That if indeed some of these guys that are being shown out there that are being picked up by the military personnel are the one perpetrating it, we should have reduced number in the action that is actually being carried out. That is very much possible. We don't know the people that carried it out. None of the victims can point to say, yes, this is one of them, because they were actually under pressure not to even identify anybody. And tomorrow somebody is coming to say, okay, we've apprehended 5 of them that actually perpetrated. And the next thing we see is attack at another place. When it happened in Oyo, we moved the military,
there are no
the
consequences.
police.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we've been saying that times with that number now. Even when you now pick those people, let's even agree that they are the actual people that perpetrated that ill. What are the consequences that would deter other people to say, no, this is not the path to toe? Most of the time, a lot of us have actually asked this idea of reintegrating the forgiven
back into society. Very quickly, Falabi from Lagos. I hope we haven't lost you there. Forgive us for stalling. Good morning to you. We lost him. Falabi, if you can call us back, we will be deeply appreciated. But again, apologies for taking so long to get to your call. Please continue.
So you ask yourself, you see, my concern is gubernatorial primaries, like we read on all the papers, consensus, direct primaries, everything is going on. I was on a particular station yesterday and they were asking me, do you think this election for 2027 will hold? And my question is, it will definitely, if election can be conducted during Jonathan's regime, this one will definitely do it. The politicians understand. Have you started seeing gatherings of crowd that you are supposed to be afraid that I hope something terrific will not happen? They will do the campaign, they will put everybody together, and people will go back home, safe and sound, without anything happening. And wait few weeks, either before or after, you will hear that there is kidnapping in that same locality. And you ask yourself, what is actually happening? So I feel our politician needs to just be conscious of their later part of their life when they will give account to their creator, because you can't continue. I looked at the devastating state of the parents and family of those that are kidnapped in Oyo State. This is the period where I can tell you for free, students are writing WAEC. Some parents will not allow their children to go to school as we speak. In the Southwest, they are very, very sensitive. They will tell you, no, you can write the exam next year. And you can imagine what people are losing. Economically, people will desert that area. Ogbomoso is a place that we all know. In fact, it's a connecting route between Oyo to Ilorin.
Wow.
So if, as at the time they are saying that Ilorin is not central, congratulations to them. But here we are from Ilorin to Ogbomoso, which is closer to Ilorin. So maybe we'll be moving from Ilorin to, intellect. We should just, I ask myself, it is not enough to come and showcase some of the equipment that you've procured. How are we utilizing it? If they have procured tap for you in this office and the tap is just lying fallow, you are still struggling to either read news or communicate with one another. Are we not going to ask questions? We saw when they procure, it was on this station that we discussed how those 2 helicopters were actually procured by the Southwest governor. How many of those reports have you heard of apprehension or people trying to plan some of those things? We are always reactive. It is when that thing has been done, we now say we are chasing them. Now they've killed one, beheaded one. We have another one killed while that act was actually being done. Before you know it, we heard that they've killed another 2. You'll now be taking out other people that say, okay, out of the 40 that was actually apprehended, we've rescued our 30. Do you know that we still have people that are still with the cheaper girls that are still out there? Let us be proactive to nip it at the bud. Make use of the equipment. We applauded them when they actually used taxpayers' money to procure some of these things. Let's put it to use.
Let's look at another paper very quickly. I've stumbled on this one, and I think it's worthy of note to look into. Still on the Punch. Federal government misses Q1 tax target by 2.2 trillion naira. As a tax man, and as a man who plays
and
with,
as a money man.
Money man.
Should we be,
by the way,
that's a huge chunk, 2.2 trillion naira.
They also introduced the tax on board. The ombudsman yesterday, there was a meeting back and forth.
No, I think, whether it was the inauguration where the Minister of Finance...
Does it mean that when we are in the second term now, because of this shortfall,
Q1,
they will squeeze water out of stone?
Yeah, well, this is actually expected, if you ask me, going by the route that a lot of reliefs have been given to several people. You know, before now, there is no capex of saying now we have 100 million exemption for small, medium enterprise that will definitely not be paying, taxes. So you can imagine that's chunk of our base where are being exempted so that they can grow more. So this report is not surprising to me. A lot of us even asked the current Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of Economy that how do you intend to sustain when these exemptions are actually granted to a lot of the people that we know should be paying taxes? And with this report, it affirms to some of the areas where they're actually looking to say reliefs are given to people. Don't forget, even for the PIT, this is for federal government. Even for the subnationals, they will have the same brand. You know, before now, everybody was actually paying taxes. Now you have people within the range of 1 million to 1.3 exempted. So those little things, when you put them together, it amounts to certain figure. But my own is some of those funds that are being realized from these taxes. Let's see how we can put to use the judicious use of some of these funds. For the tax on board that was actually launched, it's a good initiative on the part of the team led by Taiwo Oyedele, our Honorable Minister of Finance, while he was the chairman of the tax reform policy,
Commission.
The fact remains that now you have a group of people who can advocate on behalf of the taxpayers at no cost. But how are you able to present your case to them? You know, those years where people come with liabilities that is unjustifiable. You have technocrats, you have people, lawyers, tax practitioners, accountants, name it, that are part of this team that can look into your presentation. And when they discover that you have a case to share, they take it upon themselves and engage the concerned agency, whether it's at the federal or at the state or at the local government, to make things happen. Like I said, I'm an advocate of saying this new tax reform, let's put it to test and see the best. If we're having a shortfall of 2.2 trillion, then let's look at other areas where government are making revenue and see the best. But one thing I'm very sure of is that we are going to have situation where we'll expand the tax base. All those people that have, in fact, the new introduction of Rev 360 by the Nigerian Revenue Service is to me a game changer. A lot of things have actually been imputed into it, input tax, output tax. Now we can track every of your activities. That
Rev 360.
Yeah.
I wanted to bait it today. I had to sit up.
No,
you need to ring that thing. And the people are saying, look, Ibin power.
But the rest 360 is not going to have any impact on you.
They want to see what the government has done for them.
No, they will see what the government have done for them. But here we are looking at people that before now have been, avoiding taxes. Now every transactions that you carried out, your NIN, your BVN, we have a single TID number now, everybody. Yeah. So whether you are carrying out business, those days, people will generate revenue and go and stay in Ogun State and tell you that I pay my taxes in Lagos and they won't pay anything. Now you have a tax ID that runs across the 36 states and FCT. So when you carry out that transaction in Calabar and you reside in Lagos, we understand some of those things that are actually there. So we can see the transparency. It's a different conversation to now come and say so much has actually been done. accountability
The way you're excited,
is the
I'm
way.
now wondering whether I asked the question.
Did you
I
know
should have
here
asked that question.
we are, it's part of them.
I'm
What did you call it
practitioner.
again? Tax
He has to make money now.
No,
That's
it's
his job.
Rev 360 by the Nigerian Revenue Service. That's the new. They took over from
We have a caller.
tax promos.
We have a caller. Let's see. Do we have a caller? Hello?
Yes.
Apologies. We are so sorry for keeping you waiting. We're listening to the tax man.
To money matters.
But go ahead, Chimeze.
Almost doing the same thing the government is doing to the Nigerians. Somebody will call you, keep that person and you are discussing.
Apologies. Apologies, Chimeze. Please go ahead.
All right. So please, what I intend to contribute on this issue is that it's as if Nigeria will understage. And the earlier we understand that, the better for us. We understage. And more to that, the government hands are tied. In the sense that the government they know what they can do to liberate Nigeria under this siege, but yet they feel reluctant about it. The reason best known to them. But we can't continue like this. How can people are being killed almost on daily basis? The government turn a deaf ear, turn a blind eye to it all. It's very, very alarming. And we want to be like Americans. How can we, if the government will not be able to guide their citizens? Look at for how long this thing has been going on now. Each government comes.
Chimeze, are you there?
We've lost Chimeze there.
Chimeze, are you there?
I think we lost connection with Chimeze.
Okay, unfortunately, yeah.
Chimeze, they're just talking about, what needs to be done, and also maybe most likely the federal government's hands may be tied or their hands are full or maybe are out of the depth when it comes to battling with terrorism. Do you agree with his submission?
Well, maybe partially. I might just have the connection with what we read on the Punch newspaper of the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of the Yoruba land, Gani Adams, coming to say 40 Southwest local government under terrorist attack. That's an information. How are we utilizing this information to make sure that attacks are not carried out on this? We are looking at 40. Do you know the number of local government we have in the Southwest? If you are provided this intelligent information to the military, to the police, how are we utilizing it to safeguard the life of people that are actually under our governance? I think there should be a synergy between the local vigilante group. That's why a lot of us are actually advocating for state policing, local policing, so that there can be an handshake. Police cannot be everywhere. When you have, I'm sure you know most of the estates have their own security plans, to protect their area. Same can be obtainable when it comes to, CDAs, CDCs. Look for a way to protect and have an handshake where information is being shared to the center, on things that you need to do to safeguard things. If you have this information, I expect that we should have information of the detailed area and how the security agency are reacting to this. It will be disheartening. First and foremost, I've not read the details, but I hope that it's not just giving figures. We have those locality spelled out, and you can have people monitor those things to say, on so day, on the 20th day of May, the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò mentioned that these particular areas are under terrorist threats. And here we are at this particular time hearing the news of attack in that locality. What was actually done? Those are what we call in private sector performance measure index, where you are actually measuring performances, against some of those things that you have on ground. So when you have this information, let's share it with the security. It should not be on just the pages of the papers. We should share with the concerned people and let them engage. Because I continue to say, a secured environment is a prosperous environment.
But also, that's also when you think about it, in and of itself, the police should also be doing their own intelligence in their job as well. Because these border towns or these towns should already have police stations stationed. Although I understand that there are some parts that are far-flung, which means there's never any presence of a police office, or if there is, it's almost like of a warrant chief sort of in that situation. But there's always presence at least 2 or 3 towns away. So that means you have intel or data to show that either it is underprotected, it is understaffed, or these are the critical zones or red zones where needs more manpower. Do they have those cross-border conversations? Before we do that, before you answer my question, very quickly, we have Bayo here calling us. Bayo, good morning. We don't want to keep you waiting, so go ahead, please. Bayo, please turn down the sound of your television. I was going to say radio. Sound of your television if you can.
Anyway, Bayo's not. Let's go to our correspondent just briefly, as we're running out of time. Just briefly, we have Mana Balabobo, who joins us now. The PDP primaries, the APC primaries. I mean, a lot of questions to be asked. But Mana, thanks for joining us this morning. Can you give us an update where you are and what's happening right behind you?
Absolutely. Good morning. Right here, we arrive at Oglita Ward. That's the actually the board.
We can't really hear you. Okay, unfortunately, we cannot connect to Mana because of the poor audio. Okay, all right, we can't. But let's wrap things up very quickly.
Yeah,
This
maybe I
Nigeria
should
is our
just
final
react to
paper.
that. I don't know if you look at that video.
Yeah.
Look at the people addressing the
Delegates.
the delegates that are there. He's protected by security personnel. And I ask myself the question, these guys go all out, protected
and that's not just
expose
no
the people.
security personnel. It had CTU, that's the counterterrorism unit, the helmet.
So,
is that not who they need
And
in
when we talk
states?
about insecurity, I would know we're serious when I drive past that Ojota Road, and the last time I counted 18 able-bodied, a lot of them were armed.
Guarding
Uniformed personnel
GRT route.
guarding a
GRT
line to see if your tire
Passing
touched it or
in
not.
Or not.
So it means we're not really serious about
Then I think I will support you in that particular area, causing traffic even for people thinking that you need to punish them. And we have a lot of areas that are prone to attacks here and there. That's why we've said adopt technology to do some of these things. In developed climes, you don't have any engagement. And I think they made us understand that there are cameras everywhere. Why can't you just fix some of those things and allow the technology to do the work and use the able men, where they can protect the citizen, against, because just this morning somebody was saying that we need to watch it in Lagos because we are very, very prone to some of these attacks. Everywhere you go, practically in Lagos, there's one traffic clustered here and there. So if someone decides to just do anything funny, you can imagine the number of lives that will go. So I think Lagos State have started well. They've deployed a lot of technology in actually doing some of these things. Let's do the same. That Odoyalaro Bridge or Jota, where we monitor these BRT offenders.
Yeah.
We should look for a way to use. In fact, I'm always happy when they said you are being apprehended for breaking the traffic light when you want to go and renew your papers. And it's not about an individual that will come to you. It's technology.
You have to pay your fines before
and
you can renew
you pay your
papers.
fines before you can renew your papers. And it's just you and the system that has actually captured you. I think it's the best way to go rather than creating a menace and some of those things.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure, Mr. Sheson.
Thank you so much, Mr.
And
Sheson.
I wish we could talk about this story. Anyway, yesterday, Nigeria's longest ruler, 9 years in power, he wrote a book. He's in his 90s, and it's very instructive that everybody reads that book. He did talk a lot about it. He's a very historical figure. I'm talking about General Yakubu Gowon. But the problem is the book costs 75,000 naira. That's more than
Only.
minimum wage.
Only.
How are we
Only.
supposed to
Only.
buy it?
Only.
You just doled out all of his achievements. Do you expect it to be for 5,000 naira?
Class is closed.
It's
Thank you
above
so much.
minimum wage.
Thank you, and also thank you for
Watch
Breakfast
yesterday.
Team for being so warm.